So today I set out to make a video on a grander scale than I usually do. So I wanted to make a list of the best video games of all time, but by individual year. So instead of a list of games that came out from, say, 1997, competing with games that came out last year, for example, I want to know what was the best game in 1997. I want to know what was the best game last year. So that's exactly what I've done, and I've done it in chronological order. Now, why would I be qualified to put a list like this together? Well, I'm not. So I've chosen to source the best games from a heap of different major reviewing websites, sales figures, popularity, cultural impact, all of these factors, and I chose the one game that stands out the most. This took me like 4 hours, by the way. Yeah. Now, although older games exist, like Atari's 1972 Pong, I feel like a good place to start is from the 1980s, where most people kind of feel like that's when video games started. Okay, so the best video game in 1980 was, of course, Pac-Man. I feel like at this point, everyone knows what Pac-Man is. So here's an interesting bit of information. The original Japanese title was called Pac-Man. It was later changed to Pac-Man for international releases as a preventative measure against defacement of the arcade machine. So Pac-Man had to be changed to Pac-Man. All right, 1981, Donkey Kong by Nintendo. So we're still in the world of arcade machines here. So Donkey Kong was officially the first platform game ever. So this game is almost 40 years old now. So if you remember playing this game, I'm glad I could make you feel old. 1982, Pitfall. So this is Pitfall, Harry. Basically, you collect treasures in a jungle. So check this out, right? So the game was one of the longest Atari games made. No other games had hit the 20-minute mark before Pitfall. One could also argue that E.T. the Extraterrestrial should be in this spot because it was considered the worst game ever made, therefore so bad it's good. But we're gonna stick to the best games here. 1983, Mario Brothers. This is when the original Mario Brothers was released, so it kind of automatically just wins this year. It is a 100% accurate rendition of all Italian Americans. 1984, Tetris. It's Tetris. 1985, Super Mario Brothers. The original Nintendo, Luigi, multiplayer. It was awesome. Mario was almost always the very first video game most kids ever played. Fun fact, when Mario launched, I personally created Mario the same year, but it never took off because of sexism. That was funny when I wrote it. 1986, The Legend of Zelda. So it's also worth noting here that Bubble Bobble came out this year, although Zelda really takes this year because, for example, these days, kids aren't hogging the internet to download Breath of the Bubble Bobble. They're downloading Zelda. 1987, Punch-Out! 2 exclamation marks as well. Double Dragon and Contra was released this year too. Personally, I would have preferred Double Dragon, but Punch-Out just had a bigger impact at this time. Punch-Out toned down one of the arcade version's stereotypes. The name of the Russian boxer, Vodka Drunkinsky, was changed to Soda Popinski. Can't even make this shit up. This list is getting better and better as we go. 1988, Super Mario Brothers 3. This game could technically be considered, one of the best games of all time, let alone for 1988. Note, Mega Man 2 was also released this year, which is widely considered better than the original Mega Man, but 1989, SimCity. So when this game dropped selling 2 million copies on the Super Nintendo, it changed people's opinions about video games just being for kids. 1990, Super Mario World. Mario, you're hogging all of the spots, give someone else a go, mate. So many good games came out this year. Dr. Mario, Final Fantasy 3, Dragon Quest 4, Fire Emblem. I've always loved Dr. Mario personally. Fun fact that I just made up. You could not get away with releasing Dr. Mario these days. because of his drug references. Tell me I'm wrong. 1991, The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past. So this was the third Zelda game. The Japanese release of the game was titled Legend of Zelda Triforce of Gods. The name was changed for Western versions of the game for religious reasons, eventually renaming the game to Zelda Pac-Man of Drunkinsky. Just a heads up, Sonic the Hedgehog and Street Fighter 2 also released in 1991, so this was one of the most iconic years in gaming history. 1992, Mortal Kombat. Literally everyone had this game, and if you didn't, you knew someone that did when you were growing up and this game was around. Also note Super Mario Kart, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and Wolfenstein 3D also came out at this year. Mortal Kombat 1992, wow. 1993, Doom. Fun fact, this was the first video game to give me nightmares. When we eventually got this game several years later after its release, the Caco Demon, I think that's how you say them, the Caco Demon would chase me in my dreams. Honestly, it was horrible. 1994, Donkey Kong Country. Bit of trivia here if you didn't know. Cranky Kong is supposed to be the original Donkey Kong from the arcade. That's why he's got the beard, he's all old now. 1995, Chrono Trigger. So the art might look familiar in this RPG because it was created by Akira Toriyama from Dragon Ball. That's why it looks like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z and all those video games. 1996, Pokemon Red and Blue. You knew this game had to be on the list somewhere. Well, this is the year it came out. Everyone within a 100-kilometer radius from you has heard about Pokemon in some capacity. I just made that up, but until you can prove me wrong, I will always consider this the truth. Also, Diablo got released this year. 1997, GoldenEye 007. Pierce Brosnan, if you're a young person, you might even not remember who this is, but Pierce Brosnan, the James Bond actor at the time that's on the box that this game was based on, is now almost 70 years old, which is wild to think about. 1998, The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. So it's just beating Half-Life and StarCraft. This was the first Zelda game with 3D graphics, so it was a pretty big deal. You know, it's considered the greatest of all time by Metacritics out of all people, with a score of 99%. 1999, System Shock 2. This game was a sleeper hit, so the game was not a huge commercial success when it very first got released, but later became highly influential for a lot of games that came after it. 2000, Diablo 2. My most played video game ever. How the mighty have fallen. 2001, Grand Theft Auto 3. 14 million copies sold. Super controversial when it first came out, still considered one of the best games of all time. 2002, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, 17.5 million copies sold. Super controversial when it first came out, still considered one of the best games of all time. 2003, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Fun fact, Star Wars is campy. Lots of people really liked this game though in 2003. 2004, World of Warcraft. WoW had over 100 million registered accounts by 2014, that's 10 years later. Do you have any idea how much money that is? You could buy a PC and a PlayStation 5. 2005, Guitar Hero. I remember when this game came out. It felt like Guitar Hero was honestly more popular than actually playing a guitar. Like, it was honestly like the South Park episode without some of the dramatizations. Like, this game was so popular. 2006, The Elder Scrolls Oblivion. When this game launched, its graphics were honestly incredible. A PSP version was planned for release around April 2007, just 1 year later, but it was delayed to push forward the Tamagotchi port. 2007, Super Mario Galaxy. This was essentially like the Mario 64 of a totally different generation. Critics completely drop undies for this game. They freaking love this game. 2008, Grand Theft Auto 4. The fastest selling entertainment product in history when this game first launched. 500 million in its first week. Bigger than Michael Jackson CDs, bigger than any movie. This was it. Grand Theft Auto 4, 2009, Uncharted 2. It took this team 22 months to develop this entire game, with 6 months of that time spent in pre-production. That is astoundingly fast, even for 2009. 2010, Super Mario Galaxy 2. Mass Effect 2 and Red Dead Redemption released this year as well, but Mario, has to have all of the accolades once again. Fun fact, the last Mario game that I ever played was Mario Kart on the Nintendo 64, and the graphics I remember in my head look exactly like how Super Mario Galaxy 2 looked now. 2011, Minecraft. 2011 was a huge year for gaming. Minecraft, Portal 2, Skyrim, Dark Souls, all released this year. Now, I've always seen Minecraft as a modern day Lego. Even though I never played the game before, I think it's bigger than just a video game. I truly mean that. I think it's bigger than a video game. 2012, Dishonored. Fun fact, Diablo 3 launched this year as well. So 2012 was Dishonored. 2013. This is the only year where we have to split the winner into two. Dota 2 and Grand Theft Auto 5. It's impossible to put one above the other, not just based on my opinion, just all factors in general. Let me know what you think in the comments. Dota 2 or Grand Theft Auto 5? Which one do you like better? 2014, Dark Souls 2. Fun fact, 2014 was also when the world lost its innocence. 2015, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Fun fact, every NPC character is rubbed down with Vaseline before the game launches. Seriously though, I don't know how people can criticize this game. It's honestly an extraordinary piece of entertainment. I can see myself playing this game in 20 years from now. And how good's the TV series for it as well? 2016, Overwatch. Look, love it or hate it, Overwatch was the biggest thing in 2016. You also got to remember, 2016 was the calm before the storm though. 2017, Fortnite. Fortnite shattered every streaming record. I mean, let's face it, Fortnite is really easy to hate on because of how huge its success is. At the end of the day, Fortnite brings a lot of people joy, literally at the end of the day, and in totality, that's a really cool thing in my eyes. 2018, God of War. So God of War literally won Game of the Year from every single organization that puts out a Game of the Year award. They won them all. And there's more than you probably think. Like there's more than 100, there's probably 200. 2019, Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. Basically Dark Souls, but you're a ninja. 2020, to be decided. My name is Elvis. Like the video and subscribe. What year did your favorite game come out? Please let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.